And good afternoon, everyone. This is Patrick, and welcome back to Underdog Dueling, where we take a look at hidden gems and archetypes that people might be sleeping on and compare their relevance to today's meta. So today, in honor of the new Labrynth archetype being released among the two others in Tactical Masters, I figured what a better way than to celebrate with another Fiend-based deck, and that is Evil Eye with a Destiny board engine. Now, what brought this on? Well, I like the idea of Evil Eyes because they are a really fun little stun deck that you have to be careful about. It's a high risk, high reward because it does drain your life points very quickly. But because it is revolved around stunning your opponent using a variety of monsters that are based on like the Medusa and Gorgons and turning your opponent to stone effectively, I figured why not combine that stun strategy with Destiny board and being able to stall out your opponent to be able to summon it out. And with the release of the new Destiny board support in one of the last Legendary Duelist sets, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's the one with Bakura, we got new support, and it really helps streamline the entire strategy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in, and if you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at Soren's Lair. Alright, and let's go ahead and get started. I do want to let you know the extra deck is not complete. It mostly just consists of the core. I'm still working on it, trying to get some generic staples, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments below. Starting off with the Evil Eye monsters, we have 3 Surzeal, Watcher of the Evil Eye. This is kind of your main go-to monster. When this card is normal summoned, you can add any Evil Eye card from your deck to your hand, except a copy of itself, and if it's equipped with Evil Eye of Selene, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And then during the next standby phase, after this effect was activated, you destroy one card you control. So this basically gets your plays online, but you do have to be careful as it does destroy one of your own cards. You could, in theory, destroy one. You could just try and destroy Surzeal. I believe the Evil Eye spell card that facilitates a lot of these plays. I'm pretty sure it also protects them just in general, but you'll find out in a minute. This is kind of your main starter, which allows you to just go into a variety of stuff. Any card that you need, you can summon them out, and then, I don't know, you can link them off or summon other monsters and just really get your plays going. Set those over here. We then play 3 copies of Basilius, Familiar of the Evil Eye, which allows it to where if you control an Evil Eye monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only summon him once this way, and you can send an Evil Eye spell or trap from your deck to your graveyard. This allows you to get some of your plays to try and get some recursion. Then we've got 3 copies of Catoblepis, Familiar of the Evil Eye. You can target one spell or trap you control, and then until the end of the turn, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So this does provide some decent protection from stuff like Evil Eye of Selene, when you're running it, and any other spell or trap that you might have. And then if you control an Evil Eye monster, if this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. This is mostly just help you get your link plays online, and yeah, that's really it. A lot of these are actually fairly straightforward, which I like. We then have 2 copies of Medusa, Watcher of the Evil Eye. When this card is normal summoned, you can add any Evil Eye card from your graveyard to your hand. And if this card is equipped with Evil Eye of Selene, you can target one monster your opponent can, in their graveyard. One monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and then during the next standby phase, you basically do the same. So what goes up must come down. Then for just the last 2 monsters we're actually running in this deck, since this is a very spell and trap focused, we are running only 2 copies of Despair Uranus. If this card is tribute summoned while I control no spell and traps, you can activate this effect. Your opponent declares one continuous spell or continuous trap, and you set one of that type directly from your deck. And it gains 3-inch attack for each face-up spell and trap you control. Face-up cards in your spell and trap zone can't be destroyed by card effects. He's mainly just a beater for when we start going into our Destiny board plays. Now for the spells, we run 3 Evil Eye of Selene. This is your main card that you want to search at all costs, because it basically makes it to where an Evil Eye monster cannot be destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effects, so unfortunately Surzeal isn't protected from this. But your opponent can't target it with card effects as well. And every time you activate the equipped monster's effect, or you activate another Evil Eye spell or trap, you lose 500 life points, and then that monster gains 500 attack, so it's kind of high risk, high reward if you're constantly, using too many spells and traps, you're going to burn through your life points pretty quick if you're not careful. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points and banish one Evil Eye spell or trap from your graveyard except Selene and be able to set this. So you get some really good recursion here. And again, it's kind of the one you want to go into kind of all the time. We then have 2 copies of Evil Eye Domain Pareidolia. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Evil Eye monster from your deck to your hand, and once per turn during damage calculation, if Evil Eye monster is attacked while Selene is in a spell and trap zone, you can make the battle damage that you take from the battle inflicted to your opponent, and if this card is destroyed, target 1 Evil Eye monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Really just a way to try and get Surziel and get your plays online. Evil Eye Confrontation, we run 2 copies. If you control an Evil Eye monster, you target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Then if Evil Eye Selene is in your spell and trap zone, you banish that destroyed card, so pretty good, simple removal. Then 2 copies of Evil Eye Repose for our last 2 Evil Eye spells. Basically, when you activate this card, you can banish 1 Evil Eye from your graveyard to draw a card. Then after damage calculation, if your Evil Eye equipped with Selene attacked an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster. Then if this card is in the spell and trap code is destroyed, you can target 3 of your banished Evil Eye cards and return them to the graveyard. This is really good removal because it is non-targeting removal. Then we're going into 2 copies of Dark Spirit of Mastery. Basically, this lets you discard a card to add 1 Destiny board or 1 level 8 Fiend monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can then banish this card to your graveyard to target any number of Destiny board and or spirit messages from your hand or graveyard on the bottom of the deck, then draw the same number of cards. This is basically what's going to search us our Destiny board and Sentence of Doom to try and get that Destiny board win condition. So, always a fun one. We aren't running Cursed Necrofear. I thought about running it, but let me know if you think it'd be a good addition. We then play 3 copies of Dark Sanctuary. Basically, it is another field spell to where if a spirit message would be placed on your field with Destiny board, you can special summon it as a normal monster, and if you do, it is unaffected by all card effects except Destiny board and can't be targeted for attacks, but your opponent can still attack you directly. However, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you toss a coin if the result is heads, you negate the attack, and your opponent takes damage equal to half of the current attack of the monster. This gives you some really good protection, especially if you already have an Evil Eye on the field, and you have a 50-50 chance of negating your opponent and then just burning them to death. Now moving on to some of the other cards, we've got 2 Lullaby of Obedience. Pay 2,000, declare 1 monster name, and your opponent looks at their deck, and if they have it, you can the opponent gets to choose whether to add it to your hand, or special summon it to your side of the field in attack position, ignoring its summoning conditions. This is kind of risky, but it does potentially allow you to grab one of their key cards, especially if they haven't drawn into it yet. So, this also requires you to figure out what your opponent is playing. If you know what they're playing, you're good. If you're going second, if you're going first and you know what they're playing, you might be guessing blind. Ideally, guess a hand trap just to try and get it out of the way. We then play 2 copies of Tribute Burial. Basically, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn, but you can banish a monster from each graveyard instead of tributing for a tribute summon. This is a good way to get Despair Uranus out on board. We then play 1 Terraforming, just so that we can search either of what we need, rather Pareidolia or Dark Sanctuary. And then for the rest of our spell lineup, we have, of course, I, N, A, and L to go along with our Destiny board, at which we do run 3 copies of Destiny board. So Destiny board makes it to where at the end of each of your opponent's turns, you can place 1 spirit message from your hand or deck face up on the field. If it is from your deck, then you shuffle the deck, and then when I and AL are all on the field in the proper order, you are declared the winner. But if any of your spirit messages or Destiny boards are removed from the field, all spirit message cards and Destiny board are sent to the graveyard immediately. So this is your alternate win condition. It is very easy to pull off, or easier, but you still have to be very careful on how you go about it. Which is why we are actually facilitating it with 3 copies of Sentence of Doom, one of the newest support for Destiny board. Based where you can target any number of Fiend monsters that are banished in your graveyard, up to the number of Spirit Messages or Destiny boards you control, add them to your hand, but you can also send this card to the graveyard from your spell and trap zone to place one spirit message from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And you can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn, but it does count as being placed as Destiny board. So ideally what you can do is if you summon out your Destiny board, if you play the Destiny board, then at the end of your opponent's turn, you summon out a letter. Upon summoning of that letter, you chain Sentence of Doom. You can send it to the graveyard to grab the next letter. And then if you have another one set, you can use it on your turn to get the next letter, and so on and so forth. Basically, Sentence of Doom, you are literally spelling out your opponent's defeat a little faster. So whatever it is, you're going to win that spelling bee. I love this card, by the way. Its artwork looks so cool. And then for the last couple traps, we run 2 Evil Eye Retribution. Basically, when a spell or trap is activated, you can negate and destroy, but then if Evil Eye of Selene is in spell and trap zone, it can't be negated at all. So basically, it is a near Omni-Negate just for any spells and traps that might pop up, which could potentially slow down your opponent. Then lastly, we've got the extra deck. Again, it's incomplete, so I'll just kind of show you what I have at the moment. First, we have Zurziel, Ruler of the Evil Eye. It is a Link 3 requiring 2 Evil Eye monsters, and if it is Link summoned using a monster at 2600 or higher attack, that's where Selene comes in, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Then you can target one card your opponent controls, then destroy it, then during the next standby phase, negate the effect of one monster this card currently points to. But if you don't have anything pointing to it, you are pretty much in the clear. Now, getting a monster at 2600 will take a little bit of work, but Selene and something like Zurziel can facilitate our needs actually pretty easily. And then finally, 3 copies of Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eye. Basically just requires any 2 monsters, including an Evil Eye monster. It gains 100 attack for every Evil Eye card with different names in your graveyard. And if it's equipped with Evil Eye of Selene, you can negate the effects of one monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. But then, during the next standby phase, you have to destroy one monster this card points to. Now, if your opponent does have a monster in the zone, you can just straight up destroy that, but if they don't have anything and you don't have anything, you can bypass this restriction entirely. So yeah, the general strategy of this deck is really just that, trying to stun your opponent in any way, shape, or form, and effectively just trying to lock out their plays while you get that Destiny board win. I've actually managed to get this, I think, twice in my life since I've been running this deck, so it's not the most consistent, but it's just a fun little passion project that I liked working on. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, look forward to test stands in the future, as always, and more deck profiles. But until then, signing out.